So the first pack of 4.4 is here, and I think it's a pretty good one because I have the bullet header Suarez, and I already think he's the best striker in the game. Definitely the best pure finisher. I wouldn't have thought a new Suarez could be much better, but when you see this new Suarez's stats, he's actually insane and has to be considered the best striker in the game at this point. But we'll look at all three cards, of course. I'm going to give my builds and then what skills I recommend too. So we'll start off with David Villa. For David Villa, I have a previous version that's a prolific winger, but it doesn't have a showtime skill. This one has Blitz curler, and that's definitely very deserved because he scored that goal in the 2011 Champions League final against Man United, and it pretty much was a Blitz curler. It's actually that version there. You can see Barcelona 10-11. So it's finally good that they finally got around to giving them this card, because this card is definitely something that he deserved. So if we just look at the builds, I have two builds. One is a left wing build, which is this one here, and the other is a striker build. So for the left wing build, you can see that we've just pretty much got all rounded. I wanted to get the 90 speed, just to help him when he's making those off the ball runs. He's still got very good kick and power, very good balance, and good enough dribbling. He's someone that he wouldn't be great at dribbling, weaving in and out of loads of defenders, but he's good enough to kind of displace the defender enough to get a shot off, and particularly when you have that blitz curler, that's pretty much all you need. You don't need to actually dribble through the whole team. If you can just get a little bit of space for the shot, that'll be good enough. So I think this build will be very effective at left wing. But if you want a more pure finisher build for a striker, I'd go for this one. Here you can get 95 finishing. We do take a little bit less dribbling, but again, this is mainly just kind of for first time shots. Taking one touch, maybe a cut behind and turn into a shoot, and stuff like that. Now for the booster, it doesn't really matter what you put the booster on, because if you want to take off, actually no, you can put it on shooting again, because then we get points back. So you go shooting +1, and then you've got 3 points left over. You can probably put that into dribbling, or maybe even get the speed back up to 90. To be honest, I don't think speed is the most important on centre forwards. Like again, that bullet header Suarez I have doesn't have high speed, and I think he's the best. I know a lot of yous will want speed, so I guess we'll go for that one there, with the speed. But I would just take off that. I wouldn't worry about the 90 speed, and I'd just go more into dribbling and maybe one into passing. Definitely a very good player. If we just look at his skills real quick, so the skills I'd recommend on David Villa, I'd definitely give him flip flap to complement that double touch and soul control. Then I'd give him acrobatic finishing. He doesn't have it, surprisingly, and also fighting spirit. So fighting spirit will help when defenders are near you. Your player, his stats kind of get a penalty. His finishing stats anyway. Fighting spirit kind of reduces that negative effect. And same thing when you're low on stamina. When you're low on stamina, your stats take a penalty. So fighting spirit will help mitigate that loss. And then after that, I would go for true passing, because he has very high weak foot. So if you're playing him in centre forward, you'll be able to pass with true passing to that left wing and right wing very comfortably. And then for the fifth skill slot, you've got a few choices. You could go for outside curler, but again, he has very high weak foot. So usually I'd like to just use that very high weak foot and put the skill elsewhere. So you could go for Marseille turn, but I'd pretty much only use that if you're going to play him left wing. The Marseille turn into the finesse can be pretty good. And then scissors paint might be a shout too. Gianni done a video a good while ago on a scissors feint into blitz curler and kind of showed how good the combination is. And I think the reason it works so well is because when you do a double touch with the level 3, actually I think it works with all double touches. It resets your player's balance. So when your player's off balance, their shot's obviously more likely to go inaccurate. When you do the skill move, it'll reset that balance. So he has pretty much perfect balance. And I think the same is happening with scissors feint. I'm not 100% sure on that, but I do know Gianni's tested it, and scissors feint into blitz curler is an effective combo. Definitely a very good card. Don't think he's a must-have. I think he's more if you like the player in real life, you go for him. Next player is Torres. Now Torres, this one I just can't see how to make this player like really good. This is the first build I went for. Now if you were to put a booster on, you'd just take off that and put something to boost the finishing, probably. Actually, maybe if we go something that will boost, yeah, that boosts kick and power as well. So then we can take off a lower body strength. Oh no, we can't, because he's on the. Oh, yeah, we already have the lower body strength off there. Yeah, 3 points back into dribbling, but it's not going to really move the needle, is it? Yeah, I don't think this guy is going to be that effective. Again, I go for 95 finishing just to make him really consistent. If you don't really care about 95 finishing, though, you could go like this and get dribbling, make him more of a dribbler. And I guess it is a young version of Torres when he's at Atletico, so he would be better at dribbling, like, the first couple of years of Liverpool too, that type of player. That kind of is more realistic to what he played like there, but I think at this point in the game, I don't think 90 finishing is going to cut it for most strikers. I think 95 is really what you're looking for if you need to be going out and purchasing someone. For the skills on Torres, I would put left flap, again, fighting spirit again, cut behind and turn, outside curler, and true passing. So I think that is all self-evident, but the outside curler is very important on him because he has medium weak foot accuracy. Now he doesn't have very high curl. The thing about outside curler is the kind of rule of thumb I have in my head. If you have low curl, outside curler is still very effective if you keep your shot low. But the high curl only helps if you want to put the outside curler shot into the top corner. But 9 times out of 10 when you're hitting an outside curler, if you keep it low, it will go in, so he will be fine with outside curler, even though he has that low curl. And then last and definitely not least is this Luis Suarez. So if you look at where's his booster? His booster is actually a +4, so this is making this card insanely high rated. He's also got very high weak foot, of course, and then phenomenal finishing. Now, bullet header on his last card was a bit useless. Like, I've probably scored 3 or 4 headers in the entire time with him, and they were all top in headers pretty much. So that was pretty useless. But to be honest, I've used phenomenal finishing a few times on a few different players, and I don't really notice it. Like, I know some people swear by phenomenal finishing, but it hasn't been shown to me why it's so effective. So if I was going for this card, I wouldn't even be worrying about this phenomenal finishing, to be honest. But if we just look at this card, this is the first build I've come up with, and then we have to put a booster on. So the booster would be something to boost the finishing, and then probably the ball control. So fantasy still looks pretty good because then you'll get 85s there. But you can see there, like that 89 balance, 95 finishing, 95 kicking power, insanely high offensive awareness, and then the acceleration too to help with those runs, and 90 physical contact. Now, I don't think physical contact's important. I think if you had him on 70 physical contact, he'd still be like 95% of the player he is with 90 physical contact. But maybe that's just my playstyle. Maybe some of you guys actually kind of rely on that physical contact a little bit more. But it kind of reminds me of that Gareth Bale because he's actually kind of nimble. This Suarez was still very high physical contact. There's very few players like that. That Gareth Bale and like the bully Messi I have somewhere here. This one here. Now this is my old Suarez. So is it worth the upgrade on this old Suarez? To be honest, when you look at the stats, I think the main differences are really obviously the physical contact, but again, I don't think that's too much important. So the main differences are it's the balance and a little bit of the offensive awareness. Now, I don't think the offensive awareness is something to majorly consider upgrading on. Like, it's 98 versus 93. But that balance, like this Suarez doesn't feel like prime Luis Suarez, like taking people on, dribbling everyone. It's more just pure, like, you know, maybe his legs are gone a little bit and he's just able to bury every chance. But with this new balance on this Suarez, he should be a lot more like that kind of early Barcelona and when his time at Liverpool, where you could just take on pretty much the entire defense. So definitely a very good card. Now for the skills, I'd put double touch and flip flap on him. I think the ball roll shot is very effective on this Luis Suarez. Then I'd go for cut behind and turn. I done a cut behind and turn tutorial about a week and a half ago. If you don't understand why cut behind and turn is so effective, make sure you check that out. Then I'd also go for true passing. And then for the last skill slot, you've got a few choices. Aerial superiority, he's decently tall. It's not really to score headers, but it would just be to kind of win the long ball. You're playing the goal kicks or a long ball with your defender. Maybe Marseille turn. I don't like it on players in the middle, but some people do, so we'll go for that. I'd probably go for rising shot. It's got very high finish and very high kicking power, and it's always nice to see a rising shot. It's very aesthetically pleasing. So that could be good, although he probably doesn't need that, to be honest. That's more just to put some flair on the card. And then for the last skill, I don't really recommend one touch pass on strikers. I don't think it's necessary. I also have a video on that. But because he's pretty much got every other area of his game sorted out, I consider one touch pass just to help him that little extra bit. But definitely a decent enough pack. Now, again, I wouldn't really be too worried about Torres, but David Villa and Suarez look very good. Personally, I won't be upgrading. I'll be sticking with my Luis Suarez that I have because I love him so much. I'd feel bad moving on from him already. You can see here he has 190 games, 193 goals, and 53 assists. So that's a pretty good record for me. Like, this Messi has the best record by a mile, and then Suarez is kind of behind them, and then every other player is miles behind. This Suarez is definitely very good. So if you didn't pick up this Suarez, I'd consider getting this new phenomenal finish one today. Also, I'll be streaming later, of course, trying out a new gameplay. We're going to be playing Possession. I think there's a new Cruyff Possession manager, so we're going to see what Possession feels like in this new update. Because I used to only play Possession ages ago when AI defending wasn't as strong. But they've apparently nerfed AI defending now and improved passing. So hopefully, Possession game is back in force and I can actually use it again and have some fun. But I'll hopefully catch you later then. It'll be about 4 hours from when this video is uploaded, maybe 5 hours. Hopefully I can catch you then. Right, thanks for watching. Bye.